Hey folks, Rob here, and today we're going to be disassembling this Hatfield SAS. This is the SAS 12 gauge. I picked this up for $216 at Walmart, and if you've watched my previous video of unboxing it, we unboxed it on the previous video, took a look at it, and now we're gonna clean this gun, because honestly this is one of the dirtiest guns out of the box I believe I've ever dealt with. I took the barrel off, trying to look at the gas system, and yeah, it was dirty. So in order to disassemble it, first thing we're going to do, well, first thing you should always do is check your firearm to make sure it's empty, as this gun is new and never had a shell in it. So there's no shells in the barrel there. This gun is empty. So what we'll do, and you can leave the action actually locked back there. So what we're going to do is remove our fore-end nut, or our forearm cap. So this is aluminum, it's threaded, and then we will slide our fore-end off. This is a walnut. They say it's Turkish walnut, so I know a lot of people used to have problems with these cracking, and it looks like maybe in order to offset that, it looks like maybe this is reinforced with some fiberglass in this area right through here. So it would appear to have some fiberglass in this part of the stock to keep that from cracking. I know that was one of the complaints of the early ones, was cracking of the buttstock or the forearm. But there's a good look at it. It's got pressed checkering. It's not sharp by any means, but of course I do have on gloves, but you know, it's pressed in there, I'm sure. Does appear to kind of look like walnut, so maybe that is truly walnut. Alright, in order to remove our barrel, you have this threaded cap right here, and what you do is thread that off the first set of threads, and you pull it up here and bring it off your second set of threads. And we'll lay that aside. When you reassemble this, you'll notice that that side is knurled, and that will go down towards your gas valve. So we'll lay that aside, and at that point you can pull your barrel out. Now see, this is where I made my mistake the first time, is I thought this piece, this gas valve, had to screw off these threads. It does not. It will come out over those. So you can pull your barrel off, and we'll lay that down. We'll lay our action aside for a minute, and here's your barrel, and here's your gas piston. And you can see this thing, I have put no oil on this, so you can see how much oil and stuff was on this gun from the factory, because I put nothing on it. It is a chrome lined barrel. I can't really get you a good shot down the barrel, but this is your gas valve right here, and the way this works is, and I'll insert a picture of this because Hatfield actually sent me a diagram. I'm not going to take it apart. It's not that hard, but it's just not necessary to take it apart. But you have this outer ring. This is your regulator body assembly, and inside there you have a really heavy spring in there. I don't know if you can see it right there, but you have a really heavy spring, and then you have a metal ring that the shoulder of it goes back toward the trigger. So that is your gas regulator valve, and like I said, there's really no need to disassemble that. And So that's your barrel. So we're gonna start cleaning on this. I did pick up a 12 gauge bore snake today, so we're gonna try this out. And another thing I wanted to show you, I don't want to get it all dirty. Let me wipe my hands off here a little bit. Let me just ditch the gloves a minute. I'll get another pair. This was made by Kimmy's Custom Creations, and I'm going to put a link to her Facebook page in the description below. But this is an awesome cup that Kim made for me. Now Kim is my sister-in-law, and she designed this for me and made it. It's kind of a camo pattern. These are made. These are stainless steel cup. Has a real nice slide top there. Comes with a straw too if you want to use a straw. Nice seal on the cup there, stainless steel. And I just thought we'd take a look at that. That was really nice of her to make me a cup with my channel logo on it. And she can make all kinds. She can make these practically any way you want them. She makes some really nice cups. And I'll put a link to her Facebook in the description below. We're going to whip this boar snake. I picked this up at Walmart. I didn't have a boar snake. I use a cleaning rod, but I'm trying to go away from cleaning rods. And tools and targets, if you watch this, I finally ordered my pistol cleaning for my 22s. So anyway, there it is. So you have your mop, you have your built-in brush, you have this tail that is where you oil. So I'm basically going to put some CLP right here in our little cleaning area. Soak that up with a little CLP. I'm actually going to spray some right here, right on down the barrel. Spray a little bit here. And now, like I said, it's hard to get the camera angle with this barrel, with this mount I got. So we're just going to run this down the barrel, clean out the bore. Oh, I bumped my camera mount. And sorry for some of this. Some of this you won't get to see because it's going to be out of frame. So for that I apologize. But I'm just going to pull this through. We're going to give this barrel a good cleaning. I'm going to spray some CLP on this end to lubricate it. I want this gun to have its best opportunity of functioning. So what we're doing is giving it a thorough cleaning so that it will have its best opportunity to work. I'm going to run that actually one time, and that thing is sparkling clean. And you can see kind of how dirty, and that's never been shot. So anyway, I think one time will suffice on a new gun. Yeah. And I do still have some adhesive here. They come with a sticker on them, so I'm hoping this CLP will kind of remove that adhesive. We're just going to take a brush and some CLP, and I'm just going to kind of try to use it to get all that manufacturer's oil. It must be machining oil or something that's on these guns, because they are cruddy. So we're going to give this a good cleaning. I'm going to take my toothbrush, clean up inside my gas valve here, my barrel extension. We're just going to try to clean all this real good and get everything off of it we can get off of. And then I'll take a rag, Wipe this off. And what's left on there should be sufficient to lubricate it. Well, that finish sure looks a lot better once you've cleaned it and oiled it a little bit. I mean, it doesn't have an outstanding finish, but it kind of brings out the luster in it a little bit. Now that is still some adhesive, so let's see if we can work on that a little more. I don't know how its CLP is for taking off adhesive, but I would think if it would take off burnt gunpowder and such, that it would take off a little bit of sticker residue. Might take a little bit to get it off. But there's a good look at the barrel. 3-inch chambers. And it's made by UTAS, USA, made in Turkey, UTAS. So, I assume UTAS is the maker. Let's take this rag here, a cleaner dirty rag, and clean up in here. Get all the oil and grease and stuff out of our gas system. Guys, I don't want to make this video super long because I don't want it to be boring. But like I said, I do want to give this every opportunity I can for it to function out of the box. Okay, I'll lay our barrel aside, and we're going to start looking at our action here. Here we just put a little CLP on our gas piston. We're going to give it a wipe down, clean it out. There's a look at our piston. And it's got one metal gas ring around it. And we'll set that aside. Wipe off our nut that goes on the front of it. Now let's take a look at this receiver and see what we can do with it. Alright, we'll want to pull out our action bar, and we'll lay that aside for a minute. I need a bigger table. And then I'm going to let my bolt go forward. That was a little harder than I wanted to let it go forward, but then we're going to pull this back and get it to where we can pull out our bolt handle here. Alright, it took some finagling, but I got the bolt handle out, or the charging handle. So that part is out. Now, with that out, you can simply pull your bolt straight out of the front of the gun. And here's your bolt assembly. That's your bolt assembly. And your locking lug. Locking lug on this appears to be well machined and well defined. Got nice edges on it. Bolt looks to be made fairly well. There you can tell it's never been shot. I don't think this one ever was even factory fired. If it is, there's no indication on the front of the bolt face that this gun has ever even been test fired. And then of course here's your carrier. And this part here extends back into your buttstock where your recoil spring is. So there's your bolt carrier, and then you have, we're going to pull out our, and that's pretty well it for the bolt assembly. Next I'm going to pull out this magazine spring, because we're going to clean this magazine tube out. And to do that, you got a little tab right here. Yep, and that's usually what it does, so be careful when you do that. There's your magazine spring and your keeper. Got the little notch on it. And I'm I might have to, the follower doesn't want to just drop out, so I'm going to have to bring it out probably from this end using the spring. So let me get a punch here and we'll disassemble this, we'll take this trigger group out. Alright, so I have me a punch here, and we're going to remove this trigger group. And let's see, I'm trying to figure out what I can lay that on to not damage it. Actually, take my bolt, put this piece of leather on it, lay that across there, take my punch, and just kind of punch that through, get it started. So now we can flip it over and pull our pin out. There we go. So now we've removed our pin. Let me lay our bolt aside. And let's see how this comes out. Some of them lift up and out, and some you gotta pull forward and out. There's always a trick to them. And there might be something I'm doing wrong. No, it comes out through the bottom. Okay, this is mostly plastic. Actually, this is the cleanest part of the gun I've seen yet, is this trigger group. So, plastic trigger group. There's a better look at your safety. So you got your red on there. You got some checkering texture on the bottom. I see a lot of people complain that this is sharp, but mine is not sharp at all. That's rounded off good. You got like I don't know what kind of you call that, kind of diamond, not diamond shaped, but that's on your far side of your safety. To fire it, you would push on the bigger side toward the smaller side. Anyway, that's your trigger group. And then up in the shotgun here is your bolt release button right there. So actually, I don't know if you can see up in there, but the machining up in that doesn't look too bad at all. But what we're going to try to do now is get this follower out, and the way I'm going to do that is using my magazine spring. And the way we're going to do it is that we're going to feed it through from the back side in hopes that this will pop it out the front side. This may work and this may not work, but we're about to find out. That is in there fairly tight. There it goes. It came out. So we've got our follower out. Now we can just push our strip spring on through. And we have our follower out of our gun. It's just a plastic follower. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this bore brush. It's got this 12 gauge mop. And we're going to run it right down through this magazine tube and clean it out, because we want our shells to slide nicely through there and feed good. We don't want any hiccups. And from the initial inspection of this gun, I can tell you that inside internally there's a lot of oil and grease, and it's a very well lubricated gun from the factory. So we're going to start this through there, and we're just going to give this a run through our magazine tube. Now this is not going to fit extremely tight because it's bigger diameter than the bore of the gun itself. We'll look down. Oh yeah, that is that's nice and clean. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put we're going to do that one more time. I'm going to put a little CLP right here on the tail of this, which is the biggest part of this thing here, and that'll lube up the inside of that magazine too. Don't want it oily, because you don't want dirt and stuff collecting up in your magazine. Just like you wouldn't oil a magazine, but this CLP will get the dirt out of it, and the oil and the grime and so we're just going to run this through with a little CLP on it, and we'll call that good. So far that bore mop's been pretty good. Like I said, I've always used a rod, so I don't know if I can get you a shot down that or not. Probably not. Anyway, we've cleaned that off. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to take a little CLP and we're just going to spray it up in here on the rails. And I'm just going to take my little toothbrush here, and we're just going to give this a good initial wipe down and cleaning. If you can see right here, I don't know if the lighting's good enough that you can see it, but right here is where that little rod sits, and your recoil spring goes back into your buttstock. So that's where that sits. We're just going to give all this a thorough cleaning. And let me scrub on that a minute and I'll be right back. So we've kind of cleaned out our inside here. On these shotguns, you have two little screws here that hold on this little ring here. And I've watched other videos where people have had problem with those screws walking out. So we're going to, and these are not even tight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these two little screws, and we're going to Loctite these things. Now this one was a little bit tight. I hope you can see that. So we're going to take these two screws out, and I'm going to Loctite these. And there's the screw. There's the size it is. So be careful and don't lose those. And we're going to put some Loctite on those and reinstall those into the receiver. We're just going to be using some blue Loctite. And making sure these don't inadvertently come out. Like I said, I kind of watched several videos on these, and I've watched some of the things that people say fail about them. And so we're going to try to eliminate those areas of failure before they ever start. I watched one video where a man kept having trouble with his this little piece coming loose. So we're going to get our Loctite over here. And this may be kind of tedious to do because they're really small. Let's see how to best do this. So we're going to get our ring back here. I'm going to put my screw on. These little Hart screwdrivers have turned out to be pretty good little investment for, I think, $8. So we're going to put a drop of blue Loctite on that. Now, I may have to do this off camera so that I can see what I'm doing. I would like for you to be able to see what I'm doing too, but I don't think we can both see what I'm doing. So anyway, we're reinserting this one. I'm not going to tighten it I'm not going to over tighten it. I'm going to leave me a little movement in it so I can get this other one started. the magnetic tips on these little screwdrivers hold pretty good, so. And we'll put a Loctite on this one. And we will reinstall it on this bottom side. And like I said, I don't think we can both see what I'm doing. No, don't want to over tighten these because they're going into aluminum, so get it snug. Get this other one snug. And those are in there snug, they're Loctited, so that should not be an issue. I put just a little bit of CLP on my follower. We'll reinsert the follower through the front. We are going to reinsert our follower spring into the magazine housing. And guys, I may have to set this down and do this. This is something that I don't want to lose my cap here, so I can't really do that on camera. I finally got that in. That was the toughest magazine spring to reinstall I've ever reinstalled in my life. That thing was a booger. So, okay, we got our magazine tube reinstalled, our keeper here. It's got two little tabs that fit in these slots. So our follower's back in. We're lubed. We're just going to rub this tube down real quick with a little CLP. Get any grease or dirt there might be off of that. And we're going to set this aside here a minute and look at our trigger group. Now this don't look too bad. Honestly, it doesn't look like there's much machining oil on this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to give it a little CLP in some of these areas. This may be a little more than it needs, but we'll slick it up just a little bit. Top of that hammer. Just give it a little love here. Don't want to overdo it. So anyway, a little lubrication on that. I think that will be alright. We'll rub a little bit of that in. I don't want CLP running out of my trigger group. Let's see about reinstalling this in our gun. I didn't take this ejector or the bolt stop out. Reach up in there, pull your bolt stop back. That allows your trigger group to fall back in there. We'll take our pin. I'm not going to put any lubrication on that because I don't want it working out. And take our little hammer here and reseat that pin. So that's got our trigger group reinstalled. And I think we're good on that. We'll give it a wipe down when we're completed. We'll give it a good wipe down. We're going to take our operating rod here, put a little CLP on it, a little CLP in it, and we're going to wipe this down. Again, with this piece, like I did the other, I'm going to run this bore snake through it. Just because I can. And that will get any oil and grease and like I said, this bore snake is not tight in any of these, you know, because these are bigger diameter than your bore. But that will get some of that stuff out of there. Give it a little bit of a cleaning. Kind of work this around in there. like I said, I'm trying to give this the best opportunity it can have to be functional out of the box. So now here's an area where that's kind of the Turk that welded that kind of looked like a bird shit on it, but hopefully it'll hold up. So there is our that's our pushes our bolt back. Let's take our bolt itself. Let's give it a little spray down with CLP. We're going to get up in here. I'm not disassembling this bolt any further than this right here, so this is as far as I'm taking this bolt down. So we're going to give that a little liberal coating of CLP. Take our brush, clean it, and remove the excess with our rag here. I kind of like this whole one-step thing, you know. Clean it, lubricate it, and protect it all with one thing. You know, I used hoppies, and then I'd have to go back with oil and oil it, and this way it's a one-shot deal. Take our carrier. You can see the crap on that. And we're just going to give our carrier a little cleaning here. I hope I don't bore y'all with this video, because sometimes I watch my videos and I feel like I speak in a monotone voice. I feel like I'm not a very good YouTube. You know, most people get on there and they're real, I don't know how to say it, but I tend to be more monochromatic, just you know, don't get overly excited, or I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. So anyway, there's our bolt carrier group that's cleaned. And so we've cleaned our receiver, we've lubricated our bolt carrier. We've used CLP. We've cleaned our operating rod here and degreased that. So I guess the only thing to do now is to reassemble. So in order to reassemble, we will take our stock here and our bolt carrier, and we will set our bolt carrier back onto, or our bolt back onto our carrier with it pushed forward. If you pull back, it's going to push the locking lugs up. We're going to feed our operating rod back into the gun, our recoil rod, and we're going to slide this back into the firearm. Now, I don't know if there's a good way or bad way, but there's the way I'm going to do it. Now we want to make sure our operating rod falls back into its little position there in the stock, so that the recoil spring will work. There. Now we're in. Now we're going to push this back to where we can see our little notch here. We're going to take our charging handle, reinsert that. So now our action's back in there. We are going to reinstall our operating rod, and I'm going to slide that over our magazine tube, and that will go right into this recess right here, and that is what pushes your bolt back. So there is your operating rod reinstalled. So we're going to pull this to the back, lock it back, and there you can see our operating rod in action. So with that on there, we will take our gas piston, reinsert it into our barrel here. We'll make sure this is clean. This has been cleaned and CLP put on it. And we will wipe this off and slide that back over our barrel, our magazine tube, and into the receiver. And make sure you go all the way back until the barrel is completely in. You'll see it hit the bottom there. And now we can reinstall our, sorry guys, I need to clean off my bench because I feel I don't have the room I need. So we're going to reinstall our knurled nut, making sure that these teeth are to the inward side. Now, I'm going to be using this as a hunting shotgun. So, here's your supplied plug for your magazine. Now, in the state of Kentucky, you can only have 3 rounds in your shotgun. So, you could have 2 in the tube, 1 in the chamber. And I think it was Dragon Rider who was asking me, you know, if this had to go in there. No, it doesn't. And without this in there, I'm not sure if this is a 4+1 or 5+1. Let me see if it says on the box. I'm not sure. It doesn't say on the box, and I don't have my manual out here, but it's you either get 4 in the tube and 1 in the chamber, or 5 in the tube and 1 in the chamber without this plug in there. So, but since I'm gonna be using this as a hunting gun, I'm gonna keep the plug in it. That way I don't lose it, and I have it. So, with that, we have our plug back in. We have our knurled nut back on. We will reinsert our forearm and slide it up into our little place here on this. It slides right up in there, seats. And we will take our magazine end cap here and tighten it down. Now they say to tighten it tight and then give it a little bit of a turn, because all this is holding on is your forearm. It's keeping your forearm. This does not hold your barrel on. Like I said, this knurled ring right here is what holds your barrel. So all this is doing is keeping your forearm tight, and over tightening probably is the culprit for cracking most of these wooden stocks. And like I showed you there, these look like they have been reinforced with some fiberglass cloth. So I'm gonna tighten that, and then so I don't want it so loose, but I don't want it. See, there's just a little bit of movement in that, not much. So with that done, we're gonna just give it a final wipe down, and we're gonna call that the end of this video. Guys, I hope, I know this is gonna be a little long and boring, but this is just what I wanted to do to it before we ever put our first shot through it, just so it could have every opportunity to work. Now my brother Elwood's supposed to come up tomorrow, so I probably won't shoot this gun today. Probably he's going to bring up some guns, and we're going to do some videos, and so this will probably be part of this shooting. So I may leave this lock back tonight just to limber up that spring a little bit, and hopefully it'll run. Anyway, guys, I appreciate everybody that watches. I hope this hasn't turned into a long, drawn-out, boring video. But until the next one, and check out my sister-in-law Kim's Facebook page on Kimmy's Custom Creations. She can make any kind of tumbler like this. She makes t-shirts, bags, you name it, she can make it. Really talented person. There are some of those people out there that are just naturally talented, and she seems to be one of them. Like my buddy Mark Thomas over that makes holsters. Just, you know, some people just have a natural talent to make things. Anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all watching, and until the next video, we'll see you later.